All right, so we have one of our lovely clients, Jason, just asked me a question. He asked me, Nick, when you got profitable, you were trading lower time frames. You're like scalping the minute five using RSI and divergence and Bollinger Bands sometimes. And what Jason asked me, he's like, is there anything that caused you to switch from the lower time frames to the higher time frames? And, as with most things in life, when you take an action, there's generally reasons behind that action. And there's two particular reasons in this case. So, Jason, here's my two reasons I switched from lower to higher time frames. Number one, I find higher time frames more reliable. Now, what the fuck does that mean? I don't really know. It just seems to me that higher time frames tend to work out easier, more conveniently. There's less position sizing, so generally less commissions and swap fees if you end up getting into a carryover trade. Spread doesn't screw with your trades as much. Generally, if you're using lower time frames and you're having some sort of an invalidation, like a stop loss area or something, spreads can really factor into that, especially at the session changeover. And so there's just a couple things that make scalping still viable, but in my opinion, just a slightly more of a pain in the ass when you're trying to margin trade FX with on lower time frames. If you're using something like futures, you're trading like US 30, SPX, or NASDAQ, and you're trading at futures where the fees are so low and the spreads are so tight, and it's during a liquid session, like right at New York Open, that argument doesn't hold, right? Fine. But with forex trading, using a forex broker, especially if you're using a fucking broker like forex.com, like your boy over here, having to battle these low leverage and high spreads and all these rules and regulations, scalping just becomes more of a pain in the ass than it's worth, in my opinion. So that's the first thing is I think that it just seems to work better for me. I don't know why, but maybe it has something to do with those reasons I said. The second thing is that I find it more productive to do higher time frames because keep in mind, when you're scalping, you're probably not going to be risking large amounts of your account per trade because volatility can send price everywhere, right? With me, I was using a lot size of like zero point 0.1 for every $1,000 in the account. And that's not 100% true because sometimes on a really volatile pair, like GBP, for example, I would be using a lot size even smaller than that, like 0.05 or some shit, because it's just so it flies around crazy. In 1 minute, price could spike up 10 pips, and it's completely normal on the 1 minute chart and 5 minute charts. However, in general, I was using small sizing. With a small account, it just positions they can go really crazy really quickly. If you're doing like say you have like $100 equity stop on a particular trade, and that's 10% of the $1,000 account. Imagine you trying to fucking do this on like a $100,000 account, $10,000 equity stop. You're going to run into a lot of issues in terms of like perhaps maybe execution and getting in at the right price or getting in at the price that spread shows. You may get a late fill because your position sizing has to be so fucking heavy if you're going to be adding every 5, 10 pips. And then on top of that, whenever you close, like that spread is going to really matter how big that spread is. Because say you're using like 10 standard lots, which on a lot of USD pairs would represent like $100 per pip. The 3 pip spread is going to cost you $300. So things just move way too fucking fast, in my opinion. Um, Now, take for example, you contrast that with something like the higher time frames. When you use the higher time frames, the price moves a lot slower. So there's just two things here. Number one, the pre-planning of the trade. You really have a lot more time to really fucking think it through, right? You're not having to like wait there on the minute five and wait and hope it spikes up, but you watch it for an hour and it never spikes to the area that you can enter at. And then God forbid you enter and it keeps going against you, then you have to DCA in or use a stop or whatever. I would just add to the losing trades. And then on the hard time frames, you can pre-plan so much more of this shit, right? So it allows you to be, in my opinion, a little bit more patient for entries and it allows you to really kind of get your pulse on the market because this is something you're probably gonna be waiting for a couple days, maybe even a couple weeks in some cases. And then whenever you finally enter, you're gonna know relatively quickly whether or not price is starting to kind of have the turnover there, right? If price spiked up to a new high and you sell and you think that on that higher high, it's gonna start to pull back to go back down and maybe make a higher low and you're trying to profit from the sell, you can get to a position where you can start to kind of see it's like slowing down, it's losing its bullish steam, it cracked one of the recent lows, starts to come down. You can kind of monitor that trade, and then it's just kind of more of a peaceful process in the pre-planning and then also the management of that open trade. It's one of these things that I just think it seems to be so much easier. So why do I say for the second reason that it's just a little bit more unproductive to trade lower time frames? Here's why. If you use higher time frames and it truly happens to be more reliable, which like I said, it's true for me. I don't know if that'll be true for you, Jason, and the rest of you guys in this call, but it's true for me. If you're using the higher time frames and they're more reliable, and you can be right a little bit more often than you're wrong, and everything kind of fits in like nice and tidy a little bit more, um, whenever you're trading those, you can just risk more on those trades. And then if those play out, you only end up taking a couple trades a month instead of like scalping. You might be in like 2 trades a day, 10 trades a week, 40 trades a month, right? Swing trading, if you just wait for really good setups, you might be in 1 to 2 trades per week, right? So you have significantly less work, significantly less fees, significantly less fucking babysitting. Because if you're trading 4 hour chart and daily chart, you can look at the chart really once a day. And I'm not exaggerating or embellishing. If you're looking at the daily chart, there's one new fucking candle per day. If you're pre-planning stuff, you're using trading view alerts to wait for price to get to an area before entering. If you trade in the 4 hour, maybe check once in the morning, once in the evening. That's all you really need. Like 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes in the evening. Again, I'm not exaggerating. This is like 10 minutes per day, 15 minutes per day. And then the daily chart, you could use even less. You can look at it once a day after session changeover or something. If you're doing that, there's not that much work involved, right? And you just casually go over it every single day as you're continuing to do it. You can do just exponentially less work swing trading to make the same or more money than you could scalping. So for these two reasons, number one, it just seems to be more reliable and work better for me using higher time frames. And number two, it seems more productive for me to use higher time frames. I have nothing against scalping, and I continue to play around with scalping. And every time I have scalped, most of the time I've been profitable doing it. I've been through streaks where it's like something didn't fucking work, and I was testing it on demo, and I was like, this is not working at all. And it's been like 2 months, and it's just been like up and down and break even or whatever. Most of the time throughout my trading career, when I have scalped, and meaning just use lower time frames to base analysis on, like 1 minute and 5 minute, it's tended to work, right? I just feel like I get diminishing returns doing that. I feel like my time is better spent, more productive. And not only that, but it's easier for you guys to follow as well. So it's kind of like a win-win if I just use higher time frames. And it's for those two reasons. And that's all the context and reasoning. Jason, I know this was a long-winded fucking response, but I was just trying to be helpful. What do you think, man?
No, I like it. I like the response. So basically, um, what I got from that, and tell me if I'm wrong, but you use essentially the same basic process that you use for scalping. You just scaled it up to the higher time frames for more, um, I guess because the charts hold their structure a little bit more times than not. And
Is
when
that
I
it?
say structure, I just mean like the there's less chance of it just ripping in the wrong direction.
I don't know. I don't want to pretend to know things that I do not know, and I don't want to inadequately and unjustifiably assert something that I'm not completely sure is the case. What I will say is my trading approach has been very nuanced over the years, and the only thing I can say with 100% certainty is that I've always bought when I think price is going up and sold when I think price is going down with some sort of a risk structure that I can use to to manage a trade if it goes wrong, whether that just be a stop loss or a hedge order or DCA, whatever it happens to be. It's really difficult for me to like take a step forward from that and then say I'm basing what I'm doing now from what I was doing when I first got profitable. Because if I use that, you could say that about my whole trading career, right? The past, this coming March is going to be 7 years that I've been trading. Um, or this coming summer will be 7 years that I've been profitable trading and 9 years since I started. With that, I mean, I've continued to build on everything I've learned over the years. It's an iterative transitional process as you continue throughout your whole trading journey. I've always learned new shit, right? So I just use shit that I learned 2 years ago, things I've learned 4 years ago, things I've learned 6 years ago. It all comes together in this amalgamation of the nuanced trading approach that you call Nick Sean's gambling strategy. And there's nothing specific or particular that I could say like, dude, I'm using when price gets to 25 on the RSI, like that's always a buy, bro. Like that's part of my strategy. Like it's nothing like that. It's just using the combination of all my experience that manifests into the moment to moment decision making that I make in trades, which is just, I call it discretion and intuition. So that's how I would respond to that. What do you think?
Yeah, so when I was talking about the same basic idea, it was so you use the RSI chart, and essentially, even though you don't have it on the screen, you still kind of use that, but it's just kind of in your head though, or no?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, that answers my question. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Like this, for example, on algo, this is kind of unfair because I already saw the RSI on this, but like I would know that this is like divergent just because this has already gone up really far first before then pulling back and then making another quick higher high. If it if it were to pull back and then go sideways for like this long and then make a new high, that wouldn't be. a divergence that I think would be reasonable to trade. So now whenever we go here to the chart, yeah, that's it. That's a divergence. So if I just go to a random chart too, take out the RSI, let me just go back here somewhere random and I'll show you guys. This would be a divergent move right here. Now why? I know that this has gone down pretty far. Then it's had a little bit of a pullback and then it made a new low and then quickly swiped up. This is probably a divergent move as well, though it hasn't gone as far as I would like. I would like it to go a little bit further, but that's probably divergent as well. Now let's check my work and see. That's divergent, meaning the main chart makes a high, then a higher high, but the RSI window makes a high and then a lower high. This is divergent here because the main chart makes a low, then a lower low. The RSI makes a low and then a set of higher lows. So you're not really gonna know this unless you just get enough experience trading. And then I've gotten to the point where it's no longer me using like any indicators at all, right? I look at the chart and I just kind of know mm, how do I put it into words? I kind of have a feeling for like my pulse being on the market and being able to kind of feel out like, okay, when this happens, then that usually happens. And then if these things happen together, then this is usually what happens next. And then if this happens and then I take a trade, but then this happens and it starts going against me, here's the best way to manage those opportunities because here's what becomes likely after that. It's just this like a bunch of, I hesitate to use the word rules, but it's a bunch of like hints and guidelines and signs in your brain. It's like having a consultant. It's just like imagine you guys having a bald guy with a beard yelling at you in your head. This is a stupid fucking trade. You're an idiot, Jason. Why are you taking this trade? This is so stupid, man. Why would you do that? Imagine having that, and then you end up being, oh shit, and so you don't take the trade. Then it ends up being a trade that wouldn't have worked out, and you're like, oh shit, I'm glad I listened to that bald, bearded, screaming asshole in my head telling me not to take the trade. That's what intuition is like. What I've just showed you here is just being after being able to see things happen over and over again so many times, um, that you start to be able to just kind of recognize stuff like that, like I've just showed you. So yeah, but you don't really need indicators or anything to do it.
Yeah, so you have your own set of indicators in your head, essentially.
Yeah, I have the indicator in my head is a Lamborghini Performante, and there's a Lamborghini whatever the fuck like a Urus, and then I'm just thinking like which Lamborghini would I want from this trade, and then I just buy or sell based on like flipping a coin basically. I'm just kidding, but yeah, no, intuition is just like the switch in your. It's not a switch. It's like it's literally like a voice in your head. I sound like a fucking conspiracy theorist up in this bitch, but like it's like a voice in your head that's like saying this is a good idea or this is not a good idea. And the reason for that is based on a bunch of different points of experience, a bunch of different reference points to rules and things that have like sort of governed your behavior that you've like gotten experience with over time. All of those things, it is a very nuanced, very complex process, which is oftentimes why a lot of people can't put it into words. Like, let's say you've been trading for 10 years, Jason, and you've been profitable for 5 years. You'd probably have the kind of mental compass that could help you be able to assert whether or not you think price will go up and down a little more than half the time. And if that's the case, I could ask you, Jason, you think this is a good trade? And you could say something like, I don't I wouldn't take this. And I'd be like, but bro, I made a higher high, dude. Like you sell the higher highs. What the fuck's wrong with what you saying no? And you'd be like, yeah, I understand. Everything you said is true, Nick. It did make a higher high, and in general, I trade higher highs and I sell them and it makes it a lower low, then I'll buy those. You say, but this specific situation looks weird to me. I just don't want to do it. And I'm like, weird? What are you doing, Jason? You're a shitty trader. You're gambling because you don't even have trading rules. How stupid is that? And then you just have to be like, this person doesn't get it. Like they don't have experience. I'm just gonna fuck off. I'm gonna go over here and this screaming, ranting, bald bearded white guy just going crazy. I'm just going to leave him the fuck alone so he can kick and scream in his own little playpen. And then you go over here and look at the charts and you use your intuition, and that intuition saves you and helps you make more profitable trades. And it also helps you avoid trades that might be a little bit more denting to your trading account. I hope that makes sense, does it?
Yeah, it does. I get what you're saying about intuition. I've experienced it not with trading, I but with my job. it sometimes you just can't really explain some things, and people just look at you like you're stupid, but you know it's not the right thing to do.
Yeah. So tell me what job you work.
So me and my brother have a directional drilling company, and we basically we install utilities along the road, power, gas, fiber internet, anything of the sort. So we're always out working on the road, and we've been going for a while. And sometimes when accidents happen or something, this or that goes wrong, you just kind of know what to do, and you're not sure why.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. Like there could be something really nuanced, like someone asks you to lay cable, it's gonna go underneath someone's driveway, and then it's like a drainage ditch as well. It's where a lot of flooding happens. And there's all these things that come into your mind, and then you remember you're like, there's been three projects similar to this, and we've had to come back like a couple months after that to redo all the work. And you're like, this isn't a good idea. The better idea would be to reroute it this way and then use this and that to do that, right? And then the person the person there has no fucking context at all. They're gonna say, "But Jason, bro, like you just run the fiber through the ground. It's not that complicated, bro. It's simple, bro." And you're thinking to yourself, like, "Okay, yeah, in general, we take fiber and we lay it in the ground so people can have fiber internet, right?" So this is like, but that is an oversimplification of the nuance. The nuance comes into play. There's all these little fucking bitchy things flying around. There's all these little landmines everywhere, so you have to make sure you don't step on. And then your ability to navigate that is contingent upon the amount of experience that you have to develop your skill set of laying fiber or trading or, not fucking something up whenever you've learned in the past to experience like, we shouldn't do it that way. Let's do it this way. Even when other people don't understand, it doesn't matter. The person who has experience always sets the precedent, and they're always the one that should be held to a higher degree of merit and regard for their statements or assertions or opinions or beliefs on a particular topic or area of subject matter. And that's you when it comes to fiber. Unfortunately, dude, after 9 years, that's still not me when it comes to trading. I still fucking suck at trading. But yeah,
Well, I feel there's a little more predictability in something that I do than trading. But
yeah, yeah. Well, good stuff, man. Yeah, good questions and good convo. It was really I hope it was insightful for those of you listening as well. Okay, so we'll go on to next question. Or, question, comment, whatever. If you want to talk to me, here's your chance. Unmute yourself and talk to me, and I'll chat with you about whatever you want.
Hi, Nick.
Hey.
One question. Like we had a chat before, you told just that you have sometimes emotions, but you still stay focused on what is the best decision for this situation. Was there by side meditation something else which helped you to handle this, to leave the emotions by side, to stay focused on the decisions finding or the best decisions finding?
I don't understand your question, bro.
Oh,
Complicated. Yeah. Try to simplify it for me so that way I can target something.
what helped you to stay focused when there raised up emotions inside you? Like when something went wrong in trading or whatever, when emotions just arise.
I don't know if I like a lot of emotions I just kind of lean into. It's just one of those things where I'll give you an example. This doesn't just apply to trading. This applies to anything you guys will ever do in life in which you get emotional and discursive thoughts and negative emotions start to come in and govern your behavior and place incentives on what you will and won't do because you're either scared or because you're excited or because of, whatever. There's millions of emotions. Um, Generally what I do, and like I said, this applies to trading and everything else, is I lean into emotions. Now, what does that mean? It doesn't mean I let them commandeer my entire brain and my entire landscape of psychological perspective and do like, "Oh, I'm fucking scared, so I'm just going to get out of the trade right now because I'm scared." What I do is I lean into the emotions in such a way where I accept and acknowledge that they're there. And then after doing that, I then make what I believe the best decision is from a discretionary standpoint, because that's all you really have in life. Everything's fucking subjective. There's not really any intrinsic right or wrong. The best ways to get to a particular result, they have to be optimized depending on what your goals are, and then what actions are best to get there. So, for example, if I'm in a trade and I've already told myself price made a higher high and I'm going to sell, and if it goes a little bit against me, I have a stop loss here at the final location, or I have a set of DCA trades and then an invalidation or equity stop, or it'll just blow the account if it goes, whatever. If I've already pre-planned that, but then I'm getting into the trade and then it immediately goes against me, right? Rockets 20 pips, 30 pips up, and I'm in like negative $2,000 of drawdown. And I'm like, fuck. It doesn't happen to me as much anymore, to be honest, but it used to happen all the fucking time, right? For the first 4 years of my profitability, it happened. First, maybe just say 3 years of my profitability, it happened. I would get the emotion, right? The swish of adrenaline and cortisol and all these like different chemicals causing like a mini panic attack, like a little small fight or flight reaction. What did I do then? What I found was the best that worked for me, because I didn't know this in the beginning, the first few years, but what I found worked best for me to kind of help put a damper on it was to be able to say, okay, I'm feeling anxious as fuck. I'm looking at this chart and it's immediately going against me. I feel like a fucking idiot because I was going to wait for that to happen, but I entered a little bit preemptively and now I'm sitting in here thinking like, God damn it, I wish I would have just waited for that to like go up more. Then I could have entered there. All these emotions, I just acknowledge. I'm like, okay, yeah, yeah, I'm anxious. Yeah, okay, I'm a little bit worried. Yeah, I'm having a mini panic attack right now. Yeah, this is silly and I'm feeling like a fucking idiot because I couldn't I just label all the emotions and I say, I'm anxious, I'm this, I'm that, I'm da da da. My heart is like beating a little bit faster. And then I label it and I say, okay, all this is happening right now, and that's okay. And then I'll then be able to shift. I'm like, it's like you put all your emotions into a little playpen, like they're little fucking children. So they're screaming and going crazy and grabbing knives off the kitchen counter, and you like take the knife away and you put them in a playpen so they can't hurt themselves. Then you leave them there. Then you can go into the kitchen to start sorting things out and cleaning up the mess by putting your thoughts and emotions into like these proverbial mental playpens and just like acknowledging them, like you're like, this is a thought of anxiety, this is a thought of impulse to take an action like closing the trade, this is a thought of feeling like an idiot because I entered the trade too early. If you just put them on their little mental playpens, it allows you to say, okay, like I know you guys are here, that's fine. I've put you guys all up so that way I can go back in here and focus on the problem. Then you go to the hypothetical kitchen, which is your trading account. And then you're like, okay, what's the best decision? Okay, well, I planned that this could happen. And if it goes up here, there's nothing to do right now. If it goes up further, say another 50 pips or whatever the fuck it is, then I can add another position. Or that's where my stop loss is. So I'll get stopped out and then I'll reanalyze and see, should I re-enter right there? Or should I maybe wait because it looks like a bull run? Um, but then you can manage it all based on a discretionary mechanism that is not influenced and held at gunpoint by your emotions. Your emotions, oftentimes, whenever they're negative or discursive, they will cause you to do things that make no sense. Like things that you look at a couple hours later when you're no longer in a heightened emotional state and you have a lot of this like tactile sensitivity emotionally. Whenever you're no longer in that state, you'll look back at some of the shit you did and you'll be like, why the fuck did I do that? Why did I say that? Why did I take that specific action, whatever it may be? And the more and more you go through life, learning how to regulate these emotions and learning how to just say, yeah, I'm anxious as fuck right now. And that's okay. I can't change what my emotions are, but I can just acknowledge that they're there and then say, okay, even though they're here, what's the best decision given the context? I'm optimizing for the outcome of profitability most of the time. So if you're saying I'm optimizing for this profitability, what's the best thing to get there? You're like, well, I know that I've already pre-planned this trade, and then the next spot to add is up here. And then above that, I'll get stopped out if it doesn't go to the profit target. And you're like, yeah, okay, well, I've pre-planned this. So the best decision right now is no decision. There's no action. I just sit here and do nothing, even though you have all this emotional discourse. Managing your emotions in such a way that it allows you to make better decisions in trading, in life, in your relationships with people, at your work, whether you're laying fucking fiber or whether you're climbing skyscrapers and washing windows, whatever the fuck it is you do for work. I know there's a lot of you in this call who wash skyscrapers for a living. That's why I'm just paying homage to all you guys here on the call. But regardless of what you do for work, your ability to manage your psychological environment will be contingent upon you being able to properly identify and label your emotions and thoughts as they come to you and not trying to push them away. Just saying like, "Hey, yeah, anxiety, come here, sit down. Hey, panic, come here. Yeah, have a seat. Let's have some tea together. Let's sit down and relax." And then you label them all. You say, "I'm this, I'm that. I'm feeling all this way right now." And then at the end of all that, you just say, "And that's okay. I can feel anxious right now. My heart can be pounding right now. All this stuff can be happening. That's 100% okay. There's nothing to run from. It is just my limbic system trying to like it's your amygdala releasing all these hormones and chemicals that are making you feel this way to preserve your life because it's a fight or flight response oftentimes when it's negative. And then you're by acknowledging that it's all happening and acknowledging that it's all there and then telling yourself it's okay to feel that way, you then are able to kind of relax and be like, okay, cool, yeah, I can feel anxious and fine. And then you're able to put them all into these little proverbial playpens so that you can then make what you believe the best decision is, but you do it not in a reactive and an impulsive way. You by labeling your emotions and accepting them and feeling them and letting them sit for a second, and not running away from them. You then put your brain in a position where your brain is convinced like, oh, there's no fear because like I'm Lars, and it's okay if I feel anxious sometimes. It's okay if I feel like very emotional and like almost kind of scared to take the next trade because I lost the last two trades and maybe I'm on a losing streak. I'm gonna fucking end up like Nick Sean on a losing streak, losing like $36,000 in a day because he's a dumb fuck and sized too heavily. And now I've done that, and now I'm a dumb fuck. So me and Nick are both dumb fucks together because I sized way too heavily as well. And instead of letting all those paralyze you and make the decision for you, which is what people who have no governance over their emotions are, you can make the decision to say, yeah, I'm feeling all this right now, and this is really shitty, but that's okay. I can feel this way. And I'm going to sit here with these feelings for a second. And then maybe that's a minute, maybe that's 5 minutes, maybe that's 10 minutes. Eventually, you get to a point, and it's generally very soon. Most emotions last about 10 seconds whenever you look at them from a scientific perspective, but some people may feel them for like a minute or two. So that's a little bit longer. But once you've allowed yourself to feel the emotions, you then just say, okay, what's the best decision? Like, what should Lars do given this context, given his plan for the trade, given everything? Your decision may be, I entered this trade and I shouldn't have sized this heavily. So, you know what? This It was stupid for me to size heavily. The best decision is probably just to get out here because it could turn around and go into profit. It could be a profitable trade. But if it goes against me, I'm going to lose a lot more than I thought I would lose because I didn't pre-plan it out good enough. So, okay, best decision is to close the trade. Maybe the best decision is to stay in the trade. Maybe it's to close half of the position because you're too heavy, but you still want to stay in. So maybe you close the position, but you re-enter right there with like half the normal sizing, or maybe you just close half. There's all these different things that you can do. What you'll realize is the road becomes much more clear of fog once you allow yourself to accept and feel the negative emotions first and just say like, look, yeah, I'm feeling this way and I'm feeling this way, and that's okay. And you sit there for a second, and then you make your decision after. This prevents you it delays and it removes that barrier from you feeling the emotion and then seconds later making a decision. A lot of shit you do in that kind of a heightened emotional state, it ends up fucking up a lot of things that really shouldn't be fucked up, right? Had you given yourself just a little bit more of a fuse, a little bit more of a delay, you would have been able to have made what you believe is the best decision, or at least a better decision than you would have otherwise, as compared to if you just let your emotions hold you at gunpoint and you immediately act on them without any sort of delay. By having that little bit of delay, by acknowledging and feeling your emotions and waiting, and then making a decision after, I think that a lot of you guys here in this call will find that you make better decisions. Better decisions means better outcomes in life. It means better outcomes in trading. It means better outcomes in your relationships. So I was trying to think of one more thing to say, but I think that's it. So, all right. All right, Lars. Long-winded response. What do you think, man?
Thank you very much, Nick. Thank you.
So you don't think anything?
Sorry.
I just wanted your thoughts, your feedback. Like what
Oh
do you think?
yeah,
Like is some of
yeah,
this stuff I said, do you go through some of that stuff?
yeah, yeah. It's really quite helpful to delay a bit because yeah, when it's just it's yeah, you really like me. I'm sometimes I'm really deep into my emotions and I just forget about just um take a delay and just relax because then it's like a for me more acting in a switch mode like light on or light off. It's like diving deep into these motions and on the other hand uh running away from the motions, so kind of a delay. It's that hint is quite really helpful for me. Thank you, and I will try it out.
Perfect, man. Yeah, good stuff.
Thank you.
Absolutely. It's a good question. A lot of y'all need to conquer your inner bitch. your inner bitch comes and fucks with you every single day about something. You're having to negotiate with yourself. How does that even make sense? How do you negotiate with yourself? What is that? What the fuck is even going on there? Your brain is this very interesting biochemical device that regulates your behavior and the way that you feel. And feelings itself are so weird. How can we, in this like physical creature, have these things called feelings, which are hard to even really describe? It's just all very interesting. The nature of consciousness suggests that if you view your thoughts and emotions as like the third party, and your thoughts are just they're just like people that come into like your little hobbit log cabin to like hang out around the fireplace. If you view them that way, you realize your thoughts are not quote unquote you. If we really get into it, we don't have to get into it here in this fucking call today. There is actually no you. The closer you go inside to inspect where the fuck you are, some people are religious. They think you go to heaven and God's gonna save you when you die. I'm an atheist. I don't believe that. Other people think like, no, your spirit is gonna be reincarnated. You're gonna become a fucking tree, Lars. You're gonna die. You're gonna become a tree in the Black Forest in Germany, and your roots are gonna extend, and you're just gonna be a tree. I'm just not convinced of that either. Maybe it's true. I don't know, but I'm just not convinced. Um, the feelings that you have, your brain it's like a locus of attention that you experience this consciousness on this level where you have feelings, you have sensory perceptions, you have these things called thoughts. If you look at thoughts as just objects, they're no different than like anything else in your environment. Like I'm here, this is a microphone in front of me, right? I am not this microphone. I feel like I have a microphone though, and it's right here. Yeah, it's part of my experience. My hand, I am not my hand. I have a hand, right? Like this body, I am not my body per se. I feel like I have a body. But the more and more you go, the closer you get to like feeling like consciousness is this locus of attention behind your eyes, somewhere in your head. You get into your brain, you're like, okay, are you your brain? Well, your brain is just a tissue. Like you probably just feel like you have a brain, right? Now we get really into the uncomfortable part of it where everyone gets religious and spiritual and shit. Whenever you break your brain up into pieces and think, well, here's the amygdala, here's the frontal lobe, here's the cerebral cortex, you aren't those things, right? You feel like you have a brain that has an amygdala, or you have an amygdala, or you have a frontal lobe. The closer you go and inspect, there's no real you. There is just experience, right? There's consciousness and all of its contents and everything that happens to you and everything that you feel. Positive, negative emotions, happiness, sadness, whatever the fuck it is. By recognizing that you aren't those things and that these are just things happening in your mental environment and also physical environment, um, it removes that kind of like that feeling of being so tethered to your immediate emotions and acting on them. And then, as weird as it is to say, you can act outside of the way that you feel. You can act in ways that you think are more conducive to optimizing for goals that you're trying to achieve. Instead of just acting fucking impulsively and acting like a 12-year-old girl kicking and screaming because she didn't get to go to the movies with her friends or didn't get candy from the store or, whatever. Like the people who do not or people who have not taken the time to learn how to self-regulate their emotions and cope with them in such a way that allows them to not engage in actions that are in sort of misalignment with what their goals are. People who have not taken the time to learn how to do that, you generally see they're fucking neurotic, crazy, chaotic people who don't have their shit together and their actions make zero sense. Like you're like, you say you want this, Carolyn, but you did that? What the fuck, bro? You say you like want people to respect you and you're always a good person, but then you were like smuggling cocaine across the border and running from the cops and got arrested and charged with felonies. What the fuck is the matter with you, right? You see, there's all these people that make really like stupid, shitty decisions. And I'm no saint. I've made plenty of fucking retarded decisions in my life, but I continue to learn. I continue to grow, just like all of you ought to continue to learn and continue to grow. The goal should be able to be the goal should for you in my opinion, do whatever the fuck you want. Maybe be a shittier person if you want. But my goal for you guys is to try to be the best versions of yourself every single day. Not only will this make your whole life better, it'll also make you better as a trader because being able to regulate your emotions in such a way that allows you to make better trading decisions, that is one of the core fundamental things that has helped me retain profitability, even through all the crazy ups and downs I've experienced over the years. Being able to control emotions there's so much to be said for that. So, yeah, glad you brought it up, Lars.
Thank you, yeah, for this good explanation. It's like a nice picture, like growing like a tree with trying to be the best version of yourself every day. That's quite beautiful and yeah, puts a lot out of this, yeah, which yeah stress the mind and quite peaceful though. Thank you for this wonderful picture, Nick.
Yeah, absolutely. You, Lars, you're gonna respawn in life as that Christmas tree when you die, and you're gonna be here in my living room, and I'm gonna be petting you, saying, "This is Lars. He was one of my best clients right here. This is Lars. He's reincarnated."
I will shine then.
Cool, man.
Or sing a song then with a double bass.
Double bass. All right. Other questions or other, whatever you want to talk to me, unmute yourself. I'm here for you guys. I'll wait here for a minute.
I just wanted to share something that has helped me over the years, if I may.
Mhm.
So whenever I'm feeling a certain emotion in life and I feel it manifesting, I say what I'm feeling out loud, and it just kind of helps me separate from that feeling and be able to analyze it. I don't know if that makes any kind of sense, but I figured
Try,
maybe it would help somebody.
try to try to reword that in something simpler, like something more digestible. Because I don't know, maybe I'm fucking retarded. I didn't understand that completely.
So whenever I'm feeling a certain emotion, like let's say I'm scared or I'm out and I'm talking to um, a homeowner that came out of the house onto the street where we're working, and I feel, let's say they say something and I just feel instant anger, and it happens sometimes. And oftentimes what I'll do is I'll turn around and I'll just say quietly, okay, I'm angry. And then I'll turn back around. And it just helps me isolate what I'm feeling to be able to think about it. When I keep the emotion in my head, I keep going down the rabbit hole. My brain's just going 100 miles an hour, and I just keep building on top of that anger emotion, and then I say something that I shouldn't.
Mhm. Yeah. So what Jason just described, it's actually a superpower, honestly, when you really examine it. Because being able to separate your thoughts and emotions from your actions that you take, even when you're feeling that way. I mean, imagine how many things you could do better in life, whether it be dealing with a client. The client comes out and starts saying, you need to do it this way. And you're thinking to yourself, like, I've had to explain this shit dozens of times to other people who just don't fucking understand. And it's going to take me another few minutes here to have to explain all this shit to them so that they understand because they think that I'm doing it wrong, but they're fucking retarded because they have no clue what they're talking about. They're not the one that does this every day for a living. And so you feel all those emotions by doing what Jason said, which is Jason essentially just he does it. It is analogous to just the concept of labeling emotions and as a coping mechanism. So Jason just says, "Yeah, I'm kind of angry. Yeah, this person's really frustrating, but I don't have to act on that. I don't have to treat him like shit. It doesn't have to affect the way I talk to him. I can still be respectful and I can still be very cordial, very sincere, and very pleasant, even though I'm feeling like frustrated and kind of angry right now because they're a fucking idiot." So you just say, "Yeah, I'm angry as fuck right now, but that's okay. It doesn't mean I have to act in any other particular way. Because imagine if you act on it, then imagine the customer gets pissed. Then imagine they're crazy and they go inside and get a knife or a gun, and then they call the police, and then they tell the police that you're the one that's the aggressor, and then it gets into this huge thing, all because you were angry, and then you treated them as though you're angry. You'd be like, "Why the fuck are you coming out here telling me what to do, bro? I do this shit every day, bro. You don't even tell me shit, bro." And you get angry and you start doing all that shit. That could fuck up one of Jason's jobs, and then he makes less money, and perhaps he even gets arrested by law enforcement, gets taken to jail. Jason has to call me to say, "Hey, bro, Nick, I know you had a great month in crypto. Could you like help me? Could you spot me and bail me out, dude? Because like my brother can't come and like I just need to get out of jail so I can get back to work." I don't want Jason to have to call me trying to have to bail him out of jail. So by Jason managing and regulating his anger in such a way, or frustration or whatever pain dealing with clients, things become a lot easier. Um, I have to do this all the time as well. Like all of you on this call have to do this as well. If you don't believe you can do this, I will call bullshit because I'll give you a very simple example as to why you can do this. Imagine you get into some type of an argument with a close friend or a family member or a spouse or a girlfriend or boyfriend, right? And you're very upset, extremely upset. And then as you're upset, right? This just happened. It's just been a minute and your heart's pounding. You're like, how could they be so fucking stupid? This is so frustrating. This is angry. It makes me angry, just like Jason described when his client says some stupid shit and he gets angry. All this is happening. and you feel all these emotions for a minute, and then you get a phone call, and the phone call is from your boss. And if you don't work, if you run your own shit, maybe the phone call's from a client, right? And then instantly, you can pick up that phone and be like, "Hey, Jason, yeah, what's going on, man? Like, hey, what can I help? What can I help you with?" And they're like, "Yeah, yeah, I need you to do this." And you're like, "Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. We can go ahead and look into that on Monday. The other stuff, I'm gonna go ahead and look at that right now, and then I'll text you afterwards to make sure, and then I'll get an email to you with the whole report." Right? And this is you can do this like instantly, like you turn off all the anger, but then as soon as you hang up the phone, like generally you're like all the anger comes back, right? There is scientific research that suggests that an emotion only really lasts about 10 seconds, plus or minus, something like 5 to 15 seconds. Anything further than that is just self-inflicted. It's you telling yourself a story as to why you should be angry. Like, yeah, I should be angry. This client is acting like a fucktard and trying to tell me how to do my job. Like, why would they be doing that, right? And then you could go on and on about this all day long. You could just keep on fucking spinning out the tapestry of your emotional negativity, and it doesn't really change reality, right? It's okay to feel that emotion, but when it starts consuming your life, I think a lot of people would say this is probably not the best way to live. It's not that conducive to human well-being to constantly be upset and angry and frustrated with all these negative, discursive, emotional thoughts all the time, 24/7. It's probably better to regulate it in some way that you can still be happy and peaceful pretty much almost all the time. And again, I will say this, it's not like you're held at bay or at gunpoint by these emotions. It is a choice to continue worrying about it because, like I said, you could be upset. Then a minute later, as you're super upset, in the midst of like the peak of your anger or frustration or resent and all these horrible things, you could get a call from your boss or a client and instantly you can flip that off, right? Isn't that fucking weird? You might make yourself some bullshit story to say, well, that's because it's my boss or this and that. Imagine if your boss or your client didn't call. And imagine after 1 minute, you just decided, you know what? I'm just gonna not act on all this. I can keep feeling this way and that's okay. But just because I feel this way doesn't mean I have to act angry and go out and do angry things and punch a hole in the fucking drywall and get this expensive ass drywall with level 5 drywall finish repaired by the maintenance team. You don't have to do any of that. You can save yourself all that hassle by just saying, like, okay, I feel this horrible emotional pain. The moment you become aware of that emotion, like the moment, meaning labeling it, just like Jason said, the moment that you just tell yourself, like, hold on, I'm feeling fucking angry as fuck right now, that is the moment that it starts to evaporate. The more you drag that emotion out and tell yourself a story as to why you should be angry, you have a right to be angry. This person's a fucking idiot. I'm gonna go and sue that person because of how stupid they are and they caused me all this bullshit. The more and more you drag it out, the more and more it just kind of wrecks your emotional experience. I shouldn't say emotional experience. It fucks up your conscious experience so much to the point that you can end up making a lot of other really bad decisions. So your one bad feeling leads to one bad decision that then leads to two or three other second order and third order consequences that fuck up a lot of more things in your life. By simply being able to just like grab at those emotions the moment you feel them and label them and just say, there's a feeling of anger. Here's a feeling of frustration. I can feel this way. It's perfectly fine. It's not me. It's just in my environment, all floating around me, but it's not me. You don't have to let that come inside you and then like manifest itself as this like angry fucking lunatic that's yelling and screaming and can't control his emotions and yelling at a customer as to how stupid they are when while still being expected to be paid by the customer. Like you don't have to do all that. You can remind yourself it's just an emotion and it's okay for you to feel that way. You can feel that way as long as it needs to go on. But by your actions can be distinct from your emotions. The word that Jason used to describe it was isolation. Like you can isolate those emotions from your actual actions and the way that you go about things. And this is why I said that doing this is a superpower because it can literally change so many things about your life for the positive. And that certainly includes trading. What do you think, Jason?
No, it's definitely you said it beautifully. Uh, you're more gifted with the words than I am, but that's definitely what I was trying to convey. And it just no matter what you do, and you could do it in different ways. That's just one of the ways that worked for me is just, and sometimes I don't even have to do that anymore. But just to start, I would just say what I was feeling, and it just helps you think about it and analyze it, and you're like, okay, am I doing this out of emotion, or is this something I would actually do?
Yeah. Um, the weird part is that if you ask yourself, am I doing this out of emotion? Um, there will be often times where you wonder like, am I doing this out of emotion? Here's the thing. Maybe you just didn't maybe you didn't put it into words how you meant, but everything you do ultimately you could say I did this out of an emotion, right? Um, your trading decisions. I could say, look at you, Jason, you're trading emotionally because you didn't even have any rules in place for what to do. It went into drawdown and you just chose to close it. And you hide behind this stupid illusion that like, oh, I closed it because this and this happened, but really it was just you being emotional. That's why you close the trade. You don't have the patience, Jason. You're never going to be a successful trader. You're having some idiot in the comment section of your YouTube videos tell you this, who's not profitable themselves, trying to give you advice. So you could make the argument that emotions impact every decision you have, but by making that argument, you can say that's okay. You can say, look, yeah, I'm angry, and that's informing my actions to a degree, but I don't have to let it just trample over everything, right? I can have like a barrier in between myself and the really negative, fucked up emotions and thoughts I have sometimes. If you could take your thoughts, Jason, and broadcast them on a loudspeaker for the world to hear, you would sound like a fucking lunatic, right? The reason most people probably don't think you're a lunatic, Jason, is because you don't say all those things or you don't act on all those things, right? There's a point of like separation between each of your thoughts and emotions versus what your actions are. And your thoughts and emotions will always inform your actions, but you can inform your actions in such a way so as to benefit from the outcomes and optimize for certain goals that you're trying to achieve by just putting a little bit of distance between those, like you already do. And this is not just true for you, Jason. This is true for everyone. Everyone is constantly having this automaticity of thought, just continuing thought after thought after thought after thought after thought after feeling after thought after emotion after thought after feeling, just endlessly, right? As I'm speaking right now, the thoughts inside all of y'all's heads are battling against the words that I'm saying to try to fucking listen to me, right? You're trying to balance your attention between the conversation that's going on inside your head right now as I speak. You may be thinking to yourself, like, oh, yeah, yeah, well, he said that. That makes a lot of sense. Or maybe like I say something, you're like, that's stupid. Why would he say that? Like, that doesn't make it, that was such a stupid thing to say because it could be this and that, right? This automaticity of thought continuing, this constant conversation that's going on in all of our heads, all at the same time, eternally, perpetually, for your whole life, it manifests itself in a way that if you do not know how to separate and partition those thoughts and those thoughts and emotions from your actual actions, those things can govern your life, and you can have a lot of negative things happen. I've been a firsthand experiencer of this. I have a lot of anxiety disorders. I have Tourette syndrome. I wouldn't say I have depression, but I have a lot of anxiety and panic about like the future, and it's caused me to do really well in business and in trading and my relationships with Bonnie. And so like it's not necessarily a bad thing to have emotions. That's why I really hesitate to say that acting on emotions is a bad thing in general, because in trading, like you could say that your intuition and your discretion, that's all kind of developed from emotions to begin with. It's just selecting the emotions that are worth acting on. For example, if you're angry, probably not the best way to act on emotions. This is how people get killed, or this is how people lose clients and they say, fuck you, I'm gonna call someone else to lay my fiber because you yelled at me and told me I was a bitch and told me that I'm stupid and don't understand. Um, but instead of acting on anger, you can choose, no, instead I'm going to act on sincerity and kindness, and I'm going to be generous and gracious and patient. Those are good emotions to act on, right? What you were trying to say, Jason, is you shouldn't act on bad emotions, which I totally agree with, and I think everyone would agree with. But it's placing just a little barricade of emotional regulation in between your thoughts and emotions that fuck up everything about your life if you act on them, and the thoughts that are more conducive to getting you to your goal, such as like I could be angry and I could yell at them and call them a dumbass, but I could also just tell the client, I could just say, I'm going to be patient. I'm just going to explain to them, yeah, we were going to run the fiber under your driveway, but that would cause drainage issues and the fiber might be damaged. So we're actually going to run it around to a skinnier part of your driveway that's a little bit more elevated, so it's not submerged in groundwater. And then we're going to run that back around here. And it's going to be a little bit longer of a trip for the cable. However, it's going to be more safe to do long term. And you're also going to have faster internet connection speeds. And then by just having that delay, right, between being the angry asshole yelling and calling someone an idiot versus you choosing to instead act on any motion that is more conducive to your goals, which is making the customer happy and getting paid, you can then choose to respond and act in a different way that allows you to optimize for that goal. Again, the same thing occurs in trading. You have this constant, perpetual, endless stream of thought. And you get to choose whether or not you're going to act on thoughts that fuck up your trading and cause you to make stupid decisions, or whether you act on thoughts that you think are just more rational and logical that can cause you to have a little bit more profitability, like the quote, making the quote better decision after you get enough experience to justify those decisions. This is all something that all of you guys are going to learn at some point to some degree if you ever get profitable trading. I'm thinking that you should just start learning it right now, because if you start learning emotional regulation right now, not only will you have better results in trading, but your whole life becomes better. Jason, I'm sure you're a firsthand example of recognizing your life can be better by not making stupid decisions and acting on negative emotions.
Yeah, most definitely. It not in trading, but in my other experiences in life, I've definitely been able to get a lot farther by acting on good emotions. And I'm glad you brought that up because I didn't think about it. But acting on good emotions and not bad emotions, because with good emotions, you can build something over time and slowly build it up. With one bad emotion, you can rip it all down in 2 seconds.
Mhm. Yeah,
And just learning how to regulate that and admitting when you're wrong and analyzing it, why you were wrong, just helps in almost every experience in life.
I totally agree. Good stuff. All right, we will move to the next question or question or comment or whatever. If you guys want to talk to me, just unmute yourself and ask me, and I'm here.
Hi Nick, it's Sam. How are you? You okay?
Yeah, great, man. How about you?
I'm good, thank you. So I'm a really novice beginner trader. I only been trading for about 4 weeks. Sort of found it to be really exciting, but really tough at the same time. So my question is, as I demo trade over the next 3 to 6 months and I transition into live trading, what is the main kind of thing I need to look out for as I transition into live trading? Because obviously it'll be tough transitioning because I'll have my own capital on the line. So that is my question. Thank you.
How do you how do you transition? I'm trying to make sure I pinpoint the right thing here to answer. How do you make the transition from demo to live? Is that what you're asking?
No, so I think what I'm trying to say is obviously I will be putting my own capital on the line, so I'm aware that there will be a whole different set of emotions that I'll be going through as I live trade. Um, However, obviously, I'm not into sort of many different communities. So obviously, you've had experience with sort of speaking to several traders. What is the one thing, maybe or one or two things that I need to look out for as I do the transition into live trading that could make me a success? Or usually, what are a few things that people do that definitely result in failure? Hopefully, that makes sense.
Okay. I'm going to give you a framework for how this is how I've taught people to do this for years now. And it allows you to it almost sounds too good to be true. Like I'm like a salesman, like, but wait, there's more. It allows you to completely circumnavigate all the otherwise negative emotions and bullshit you'd have to go through when it comes to transitioning from demo to live. It's quite simple, actually. I think I can very rarely say that something is truly as simple, but here's the process. So you're trading on demo. In general, what I recommend is people just trade on demo for a couple months till they get some experience. When they think they're able to they're actually kind of profitable, start a new demo account and then just use a dollar amount balance and position sizing that you would be using should you trade a live account, right? Let's say you have 10K to trade with, you're comfortable risking 2K live capital, start a 2K demo account, trade on that. Use position sizing and whatever you think is reasonable. And as you start doing this, start trading that demo account. And if you're profitable after like a couple months, like 3 to 6 months, then you ask yourself, okay, I've been profitable on demo. Now let me go start a live account. And start a live account with a small percentage of your trading capital. For some people, it's like 1%, 5%, 10% of their trading capital. Just start an account with a dollar amount that is so small that if you win a next trade, you're not excited or happy like or anything. You're just like, okay, that was like I won $2. Slow clap. Slow clap for you, Sam. But when you lose, you're like, I lost $2. I really don't give a shit, right? There's no sort of emotional negativity or discursivity going on inside your brain. And then after you trade that small account for say a couple months, let's just say 2 months, for example, then you say, okay, I'm gonna deposit a little bit more. Maybe you started the account at 1K and you've grown it like $50. So you've grown it like 5% over the course of like a month. Then you deposit, say, $1,000 more. Now you're trading a $2,000 account. And then you keep doing the same shit over and over, essentially. You get a little bit better, and then now you deposit instead of 2K, now you 3K. Now for 3K, a month after that, you're still profitable. You go to 5K. And then you put your whole 10K into the account. You're trading with that. And then by this point, you've grown the total capital of 10K to maybe like say 13,000. And now you've got 13K to trade with, and you grow that to like 15K, and then you withdraw 2K and you keep trading with 13K. And then this comes over the course of years and years and years, right? For me, it's been over the course of like the past 7 years, more or less, that I've been profitable. And it's one of these things where I you could have asked me 7 years ago, hey, did you know that someday you're gonna have days where you lose like 50K in a day or make 50K in a day? It would have been really hard for me to conceptualize then. But it started off just like on my YouTube video I made yesterday. Not sure if you watched that, Sam, but for those of you all on here who watched my video yesterday, I talk about how making just a couple $100 extra per week, that was life changing for me. And the difference between the emotional um environment I was in then versus now is that I've just simply done it in a very iterative, slow, and transitional process all the way up to where I'm at now to the position sizing and dollar amount risks that I'm doing per trade. This all comes very easily if you just make it like a slow transitional process. It's gonna be very weird if you're trading like a 2K demo account, Sam, and you do that for 3 months, and then you're only profitable like the last month, and then you instantly go to a 10K live account. That's gonna probably I don't know. I don't think that's going to end well just for most people in general. However, if you slowly kind of like piece by piece, small demo account, tiny live account, slightly bigger live account that's still tiny, slightly bigger, and you let the amount of capital you're trading and risking be in perfect parallel alignment with the amount of experience you have and the amount of evidence that you have gathered to kind of justify the merit and credibility you have for whether or not you'll continue to be profitable. If you let your sizing and your risk and your account balance increase with your experience, you generally, this is just my opinion, but it's my opinion having seen thousands of people go through this. You generally don't have all those negative emotions and stuff. So it allows you to like effectively just bullshit your way around all the shit that most people would have to go through because you do things in a very slow transitional process. Are you going to make $1 million next year? Probably not. But are you going to continue to lose money if you do it this way? If you do, it's only going to be a small amount or no money if you're trading on a demo account. So I think this very slow iterative transitional process is the way that you can completely circumnavigate all the negativity and all the weird emotions that a lot of people will experience when going from demo to live trading. What are your thoughts, Sam?
Yeah, that's really helpful, Nick. Thank you. I think for me, what I took away from that is just facing greed. I think one of the things that I think young traders who get into trading face is greed. I think the instinct to jump into live trading a lot of the times is driven by that, and I definitely feel that inside of me, and I need to be aware of it.
Yeah,
So thank you for that, Nick.
absolutely, man. Yeah. There will come a day where you conquer your inner bitch, Sam, and you take a trade. Your friends are all looking around you like, Sam, you're risking $50,000 on this, or pounds, or euros, or wherever you're at, and you're like, yeah. Honestly, that's probably not enough. I should probably risk in 75,000. That's probably a little bit better. And people are gonna have no idea how you do it. But this might be if you ever even get profitable, which is statistically very unlikely. But full disclaimer. But if you're able to get profitable, this could be like 5, 10 years into the future, right? Where you're about to click the button for a trade that you're either going to lose 50,000 or you're going to make 50,000, or whatever it is that your risk structure and risk rewards look like. It's one of those things that you're only gonna be able to get there with like slow transitional experience. I just think that's the best way. Sure, maybe there's some psychopaths that can go from trading like a 1K demo account to a $100,000 live account risking 10K per trade. There's probably people that are like that, right? I'm certainly not one of them. You're probably not one of them, Sam. Most of you on this call are probably not those kind of psychopaths that can just do that with like zero emotional like response. There are some people though that are like that. It's a concept of science. This is why some people who are gamblers and addicted to gambling, they have a gambling addiction. Their brain has no like risk aversion, right? Like their brain, they're just like, I lost $1,000, but I felt nothing, so I'm just gonna go do it again and again and again, and it ends up fucking up their whole life. The people who have that, they almost have to like they have to cultivate that level of fear, or at least look at logic and statistics and acknowledge them in a very real way and accept that if I keep doing this, I'm going to keep losing money. Even though it doesn't hurt me emotionally to lose money, I could risk $50,000 on a trade and lose it and feel nothing. And they may not even have $50,000 to their name to trade with, right? There are some people who have this actual mental condition that they don't feel that, but that's few and far between. Most people like me and you, Sam, we have those emotions and we have to regulate them. And again, this is good. It's not something you should run away from. The fact that you have a risk aversion and have any emotions whatsoever when going to demo trading to live trading of any amount of capital, the fact that you have those emotions is a good thing because it helps you prevent from losing money that you may fuck up your whole life, right? Like let's say you've saved up $10,000 or pounds or euros for like the course of an entire year. You save up 10K and then you risk it all in one trade and blow the account in like 10 minutes. You're probably gonna, I mean, most sane people would probably feel like, oh, this is, yeah, I should never do this again. Like, I should never do that kind of risk again. And maybe I shouldn't even trade to begin with, because if I was that fucking dumb, do I risk that much after getting a year of experience and I just blow it all in one trade? Having those emotions are good. It's just a matter of regulating them and navigating them in such a way that allows them to not cause anything negative to occur in general, most of the time in the actual manifestation of your trading decisions and the outcomes that occur, which hopefully is profitability. You can navigate all that by just doing it with a slow transitional process. So happy you'll be doing that, Sam. You might be a little bit less likely to lose money. Okay, let's see. We still got people on the call, so if y'all have any questions or want to chat with me about anything, just unmute yourself. I'll wait here for a minute. If there's no questions, then I'll hop off. I will wait. The timer's counting down. Unmute yourself and chat with me.
Nick, me again.
Okay, yeah, I was just about to call it. Okay, go for it.
Sorry. Just curious, do you have any other hobbies besides trading?
Not really.
Yeah.
Not really. I really like trading and my business and my relationship with Bonnie and some of my family members. I don't talk to most of my family, but yeah, my relationships with Bonnie and some of my family. I have a few friends. I don't have many friends. I'm just I don't know. I don't know how to describe it, but I don't really do a lot of stuff. I like going on walks. I'll go to the gun range every now and then, shoot guns once or twice a month. Um, yeah, I don't have any hobbies though, I'd say. But here's the thing, I love what I do. Trading's kind of boring, but I love the fact that I run Mission FX in tandem with trading because otherwise if I was just doing trading, my God, I'd have to find some hobbies like for real because trading probably would take less than an hour per day. Um, as far as like As far as hobbies though, I guess Mission FX is actually my hobby. Like I make a lot of money from Mission FX, but I fucking love it. I love talking to people. I love being active in the chat. I love doing these calls. You guys can see me. Like it's like I don't look like I'm like pissed off being here, right? I enjoy making YouTube videos. I enjoy, well, most of the time. Sometimes I don't feel like making YouTube video, but then I just don't make one if I don't want to. Whenever I do make it, I do it in such a way where you can sort of see the spirit there. I mean, you guys watched my last YouTube video uploaded yesterday. It's like I'm cracking jokes, I'm laughing, I'm being silly, I'm just being a human, right? And it's not even an edited video. They're generally just uploaded raw, so that way you guys just get like the raw content, right? It's just me being a human. I'm not editing it, polishing it up usually to make it all perfect. I've tried it in the past. It's just not my style. So I really love Mission FX. So if I really have to be honest, I guess Mission FX is my hobby. It just so happens to make money as well. So that's like a win-win, right? Imagine, Lars, if you had your hobby that you also made a fuck ton of money from. You would love doing it every single day, every single moment. People would say, "Hey, Lars, let's go on a vacation. Let's go to Ibiza and let's go hang out on the beach." And you'd be like, "No, I want to stay here and work and continue to work, so I will do this." I can't do a German accent, but like you would do that because like you would love what you do every day more than whatever a particular hobby is. A lot of you guys know this about me, but if you don't, I don't like traveling. And I don't think it's too much of a stretch of the imagination and too much of an embellishment to say that I hate traveling. I legitimately do not like leaving my daily life and my beautiful place and my work and my clients and everything to go and take a trip to ski on the mountains or to go and lay on a fucking beach drinking rum or to go to New York City and wander around the streets and be like, "Oh my God, we're on a vacation. We're gonna go shopping and I'm gonna go to the Gucci store and I'm gonna buy a designer belt because I'm fucking rich and I'm just gonna buy all this designer luxury shit." I don't know. I'm very simple. Like I really love my daily life more than anything else. There is no vacation that anyone could entertain that would make me feel like I need to leave what I'm doing here to go do that because that would be a better use of time and more enjoyable. I legitimately, and I'm in the small like 1% or less of people that can say this. I legitimately love everything about every single day that I live, and it's because it's filled with work and progress and passion, and because of that, it's a life that I really don't need nor want a vacation from. And this kind of ties into the last thing you said, which is like, this is probably why I don't have any hobbies. I fucking love what I do every single day. I don't I don't want any hobbies or need any hobbies either to sort of occupy me because I love what I'm doing so much right here. Some people would say that's unbalanced. I would say they're just optimizing for something different. I would say someone says that's unbalanced. Like you don't have any hobbies, you don't do anything outside of your work, you just work nonstop, you fucking psychopathic animal. I would just say if you loved what you did as much as I love what I did, then you would say the same thing. That's 100% true. So there it is, man. There you have it. No hobbies except maybe mission effects.
Thank you very much. Very beautiful described. Thank you.
Yeah. You're not my hobby. You're very fucking important to me. Bonnie comes in here and she's like, "I'm your hobby." And I'm like, "Hobby." Radically diminishing of the significance of what she really means to me. All right.
Greetings.
Yeah, I'll tell her. All right. I'll give 30 more seconds if anyone wants to ask a question. Unmute yourself and ask me. And if not, then we'll hop off. Jason. Jason.
Yeah.
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 Your Discord nickname, man. Like,
Oh,
so I'm trying to figure out, so what are you trying to optimize for? Like you want other people to see that your nickname is Jason?
I just I'm a gamer and I use it a lot. And I guess I just feel silly having it in the Discord for people to see that there's a vegan pizza in, Discord.
Um, you're in the Knicks trades group only, which doesn't have a chat. So the only people that will be able to see your nickname is if they click on the members list and they scroll through it, and then they'll be able to see vegan pizza. But I don't think it's really that big of a deal. If you're in the close friends group, we have a policy where people in the close friends group, it's the first name and last initial. So like Nick S, Nicholas K, Tim D, Daniel P. So this is like client facing where it's an actual group chat. So it's kind of like I don't want anyone, with the name, for example, like vegan pizza in the group chat where we're all chatting and people don't even fucking know what each other's real names are, and you're having to call someone like, "Hey, hey, pizza, did you guys do this?" So, but that's for this. The Knicks trades group though is not, it's not a chat. So, I don't know. In my opinion, it doesn't really matter. What do you think?
No, that's fine. I just when I clicked on the server earlier this morning, my name was like on the right side, just sitting up on the top.
Yeah, if people click the members list, they'll see it, but it's it's fine. It's not a chat, so it doesn't really matter. In fact, I wish there was a way where you could completely make the members list like anonymous. Um, because there's been some clients tell me that there's some people that like harass them. Like people will just DM someone and say like, "Hey, you're trading. Like, you want to start a group chat? You want to do this and that?" And they're just these like people messaging them and stuff. So if anything, it'd be better if it was that. But most people don't even check the members chat, the members list. Like they're in there. It's a read-only server, so they can just follow the updates I post. So yeah, I don't think it's that big of a deal, man.
Okay.
Perfect. All right, my friends, I'm gonna hop off now. So I enjoyed the session today. A lot of good stuff. This was recorded, so I'll upload the recording to YouTube, and you guys will have it there. So see you guys. Thanks for making it fun. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Nick. Bye bye. Have a great day.
Yeah, see you, bro.
Nick.
You're welcome, my friend. You are welcome.
Goodbye, everyone.
See you,
Bye, Rob.
brother. Bye, Rob.